Aaron Rodgers is making a statement in Pittsburgh, and it is exactly the message this franchise and fan base needed to hear. At 41 years old, Rodgers could easily treat this final chapter of his career as a victory lap, a chance to collect one last paycheck and ride into retirement. But that's not what's happening. Reports emerged this week that Rodgers personally organized a late-night throwing session with several of his key offensive teammates, including DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth, Scotty Miller, and others. This wasn't a scheduled team practice, a PR stunt, or a media opportunity. There were no cameras, no interviews, no spotlight. Just a quarterback determined to connect with his new teammates on and off the field. This kind of voluntary workout sends a clear message. Rodgers is not here to blend in or play out the clock. He's here to lead. The fact that he took the initiative, texting teammates to meet him at midnight for extra work, speaks volumes about his mindset. It shows he is fully bought into this Steelers project and that he recognizes the importance of building chemistry immediately before training camp even officially opens. For a team that has struggled for years to find consistency on offense, this moment could mark the beginning of a cultural shift. Rodgers knows how critical timing and trust are in any successful offense. His deep connection with Davante Adams during his Green Bay days did not happen by accident. It was built on countless hours of extra reps, film study, and communication. Now he is applying that same formula in Pittsburgh with his new weapons. DK Metcalf, a physically dominant receiver who thrives on timing routes and contested catches, stands to benefit enormously from this early work with Rodgers. Pat Freiermuth, a versatile tight end who has already shown flashes of brilliance, will also gain an edge by learning Rodgers' preferences, cadence, and improvisational style. But this goes beyond mechanics and routes. It is about leadership and tone setting. The Steelers' offense has lacked a true field general since the decline and retirement of Ben Roethlisberger. Kenny Pickett was never able to fully command the respect and confidence of the locker room or the fan base. Rodgers, even in his first offseason in Pittsburgh, is already filling that void. His decision to organize an impromptu workout shows that he's not asking anyone to follow him blindly. He's demonstrating what commitment looks like. This also sends a message to the entire roster. Younger players like George Pickens and Jaylen Warren now see what it takes to prepare at an elite level. They are being shown the standard, not just told about it. Veterans like Freiermuth understand that this season is not about development or learning curves. It's about production and results now. The front office went all in this offseason, adding star players and pushing the salary cap to its limits. Rodgers' actions prove he understands the stakes. He is embracing the pressure, not avoiding it. And make no mistake, this midnight workout is not just symbolic. It has real football value. Timing between a quarterback and his receivers is critical, especially in today's fast-paced, precision-driven offenses. The chemistry Rodgers is developing now could be the difference between a third-down conversion and a stalled drive, between a red zone touchdown and a field goal. These reps matter, and Rodgers knows it. For Steelers fans who questioned whether he still had the fire, this week should put those doubts to rest. Rodgers is here, he's engaged, and he's all in. The question now is how far his leadership can take this talented but still unproven roster.
Aaron Rodgers' arrival in Pittsburgh is not just a headline, it is a complete transformation of how this Steelers offense operates. For years, Pittsburgh has struggled to establish an offensive identity that could match the high standards of its defensive legacy. The last few seasons have been marked by inconsistency at quarterback, an over-reliance on a run game that failed to produce elite results, and a passing attack that lacked rhythm, precision, and explosiveness. With Rodgers now under center, all of that is changing, and changing fast. One of the most immediate technical impacts is Rodgers' mastery of pre-snap reads. Throughout his career in Green Bay, he was known for dissecting defenses before the ball was snapped, adjusting protections, audibling into favorable looks, and exploiting mismatches with surgical efficiency. That ability alone elevates the Steelers' offense before the ball is even in play. It reduces negative plays, improves third down efficiency, and keeps defenses off balance. The Steelers have not had that level of command at quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger was in his prime. Rodgers' chemistry-building efforts with DK Metcalf are particularly crucial. Metcalf is a unique weapon, a combination of size, speed, and physicality that requires a quarterback willing and able to trust him on contested catches and vertical routes. In Seattle, Metcalf thrived when Russell Wilson was willing to let him win those battles. Rodgers is even more precise and more willing to throw receivers open, and that could unlock a whole new level of production for Metcalf. Their developing chemistry is the key to Pittsburgh's ability to stretch defenses vertically and create space underneath for players like George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, and Jaylen Warren. Arthur Smith's offensive scheme is also evolving to accommodate Rodgers' skill set. Smith is traditionally leaned on play-action, heavy personnel groupings, and a power run game to establish control. With Rodgers at quarterback, expect more shotgun formations, more spread looks, and a greater emphasis on tempo and rhythm passing. Rodgers thrives in systems that allow him to control the pace, identify favorable matchups, and attack quickly. That means the Steelers could become far less predictable than in recent years, keeping defenses guessing on every snap. From a protection standpoint, Rodgers' quick release and pre-snap decision-making will help mitigate the pressure that has often plagued Pittsburgh's offensive line. While the line itself is still a work in progress, Rodgers' ability to get the ball out fast will make them look better than they are on paper, reducing sacks and negative plays that have stalled drives in past seasons. The fan reaction to all of this has been overwhelmingly positive, but also cautious. Steelers fans are passionate and knowledgeable. They have seen big-name acquisitions before, and they know that success in Pittsburgh is not about hype. But there is a growing optimism that Rodgers' leadership, preparation, and technical mastery could finally unlock this offense's potential. The viral midnight throwing session only reinforces that belief, showing fans that Rodgers is not just showing up, he's invested, he's motivated, and he's determined to win. At the same time, there is a recognition that everything depends on chemistry and health. Rodgers' age and injury history remain concerns, and building cohesion with a new supporting cast will take time, even with extra practice sessions. Fans are cautiously hopeful, excited by what they are seeing, but aware that the proof will come on the field, not in off-season headlines.
From this channel's perspective, everything we are seeing from Aaron Rodgers so far suggests that this season is not going to be a repeat of the past few years of frustration for Steelers fans. For too long, Pittsburgh has looked like a franchise stuck in the middle, not rebuilding, but not contending, floating between mediocrity and unfulfilled potential. The arrival of Rodgers, combined with his immediate action since landing in Pittsburgh, signals a complete shift in culture and expectations. The midnight workout with his receivers is not just a fun off-season anecdote. It represents a fundamental change in the way this team is approaching preparation, chemistry, and leadership. Rodgers is sending a clear message, both to his teammates and to Steelers Nation. He is here to win, not to coast. And for a franchise that prides itself on grit, toughness, and work ethic, this matters enormously. Pittsburgh is not a place where stars are supposed to coast into retirement. It is a place where stars are supposed to cement their legacy with championships. Rodgers seems to understand that, and he is acting like a quarterback who knows this might be his last, best shot at a second Super Bowl ring. But while Rodgers' leadership and preparation are exactly what the Steelers needed, the reality is that this season will be judged entirely by results. Rodgers has to prove that his body can hold up for a full season, that his chemistry with receivers like DK Metcalf and Pat Freiermuth will translate when the lights are brightest, and that he can adjust to a new offensive system and new teammates quickly enough to stay competitive in an AFC stacked with quarterback talent. And yet, there are reasons to believe that this year could be special. Rodgers is walking into a situation where he has weapons. DK Metcalf is a legitimate #1 wide receiver with the physical tools to dominate any cornerback. George Pickens, still young but incredibly talented, could thrive in a complementary role. Pat Freiermuth is an elite tight end when healthy, with great hands and the ability to stretch the middle of the field. The running back duo of Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren provides both power and versatility out of the backfield. Add to that a defense anchored by players like TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick, and this team looks ready to compete on paper. The wild card is Rodgers himself. If he can play anywhere close to the level he showed in his last 2 healthy seasons in Green Bay, the Steelers will immediately elevate from playoff hopeful to legitimate contender. His experience, poise under pressure, and accuracy in critical moments are exactly what this team has lacked since Ben Roethlisberger's prime. The reaction from the locker room is another key factor that should not be underestimated. Players around Rodgers are already responding positively. The fact that so many offensive weapons showed up for his impromptu midnight session speaks volumes about the level of respect he commands and the belief they already have in him. Leadership is not just about what happens on Sundays. It's about what happens on Wednesday nights, in film rooms, and in those extra hours of preparation that separate good teams from great ones. For Steelers Nation, this should be an exciting time. There will be skepticism until the results come on the field, but what we are seeing right now is the foundation of a team that could truly make a run. Rodgers' buy-in, combined with an aggressive front office and a talented roster, gives Pittsburgh a real chance to compete in a crowded AFC. This channel is fully on board with the idea that Rodgers' leadership, work ethic, and experience could be the X factor that finally takes the Steelers from the middle of the pack to the top of the conference. So here's our challenge to Steelers fans. Embrace this moment. Support this team. Watch closely because this could be a season that rewrites the narrative of the past 5 years. And most importantly, hold this organization accountable to the standard Rodgers is setting. The Steelers should be about more than just being competitive. They should be about winning championships. Rodgers understands that. Now it's time for everyone around him, from the coaching staff to his teammates, to rise to that level. In short, Rodgers is showing he is here for the right reasons. The midnight workouts, the chemistry building, the leadership, these are not empty gestures. They are signs that the Steelers have a quarterback who believes this team can win and who is willing to do the work to make it happen. The rest is up to the organization and the players to match that energy and commitment every single day.